Let's go.
Let's get it.
Far out. Just looking at the time.
All
here.
aboard.
All aboard the hype train, everybody. Welcome to the new path.
AKA Te Haunui.
Let's go. Alright, Te Haunui. So it is at the moment 2:30 a.m. About when did Gary Vee finish? About 6 hours ago.
Finished at about 6:30.
6:30 it finished. So we've just been
10 hours ago. Oh no, freaking 8 hours ago.
We're both too off.
Oh.
Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast, Te Haunui. This is sort of an unofficial episode. So if you're hearing this, we've decided to release it because this is something that we're keen just to sort of record for the archive. So if you are hearing this, you are welcome. Because we've just been up talking and trying to pick out all of the nuts, the nuggets, the bombs that we received from the Success Resources event with Gary Vaynerchuk, with Grant Cardone, and it was just been such an amazing sort of wānanga that we've just been having together. And there's been a lot of times where we just think like far out, we're just so lucky to have each other to bounce whakaaro, into the early hours of the morning to unpack things. But on this journey to reprogram is what this whole night has been about. But firstly, what's the last 24 hours been like for you?
So 24 hours ago, we legit had zero expectations. We weren't like coming into this event to be honest, as excited as we were for last year's one, and far out. It's been one hell of a roller coaster, and a different roller coaster. We've been riding roller coasters for these last couple of years, and you fellas have been on their journey with us. But like we've been saying, like this evening, and after freaking going through a lot of the nuggets and all that, like you were saying, realizing how different this shift has been, and it's been a shift of the financial mindset, which is a mindset that we've never ever paid attention to.
Ever, eh?
Actual ever.
And I think, we're just going to dive straight into this. We were talking just with a group of people this evening after having a photo of Gary and with Gazza.
Oh, bro, the bro Gazza.
We ended up just having a talk with a group of friends, and we're sort of just talking about money mindset, because Grant, his whole keynote is definitely around just about money, and it wasn't done in like an arrogant way, which is what you would usually hear from people who are pushing sales and things like that, but it was real done in a way where he was sort of like on the edge, where if he said something or acted a little bit, it would have been completely like, whoa, that was a bit too far. Yeah. But he was just dancing just on the border of that wheel, was just really mean. And the message he just shared was just absolutely amazing, and just started to trigger a few things within myself and definitely the bro, because, we're pretty open when we say like we're just in those trenches at the moment. And when we mean trenches, it's sort of like, it's just another way of sort of saying the struggle of this lifestyle that comes. But
specifically the financial struggle.
Yeah, specifically. So I think for us, it's just been such a powerful sort of shift, because we're in the space of, man, we need to change something within ourselves to really get to a point where we know we want to be. Yep. But anyway, going back to this conversation with this group of people, and I was just sort of talking, I was like, man, where does this deficit or poor mindset come from? And when I think about it, I was like, far out, Māori in general just never had money. You know, when colonization happened, this is when money was introduced. So we've never really had that financial literacy. We've never really had that money mindset to start off with. So we were always on that deficit sort of step. So, you know, just coming into the space of learning more about pute, about money, for me, it was just like a big sort of realization, like, well, we've never really actually had it. Yeah. So we're always used to that. But yeah, it's just cool to try and unpack that sort of whakaaro. But yeah, what do you reckon?
Yep, 100% agree as always. And I think, you know, you touched on it amazingly today at lunchtime when you asked Grant and you told him like about having a poor mindset, and you know, I'm the same, and it's been inherited, you know, for, if we think about it, like survival, you know, having that frame of mind has helped keep us alive but not help us thrive. Oh, freaking whoa. Wait a minute. See? Yeah, that.
Wow, just
that
repeat
one,
it
that
one
one.
more time. Just repeat it one more time.
The mindset that we have adopted and inherited has helped us to survive but not thrive, my bro.
What?
Wait a minute.
Wait a
goddamn minute.
Skirt. Hey. Well. So, man, it's honestly just been one of those evenings for us. But as always, this is just an important topic. It's always just been like a taboo type of conversation, and we've been real, raw, open, and honest with one another tonight, and you know, just talking about where we are financially and how we have been when we've accumulated a lot of money, and you know, just what are the differences between these two things. And the thing that I realized is like, far out, I'm just the same. You know, there was a point in time where I had 50 grand in my savings account, and I was talking to the bro about it, and if I had that money, nothing would really change from that point to where I am now. It was just like, I didn't, and what Graham was sort of saying, money is useless unless you use it. Yeah. And the way I was using money when I had that 50k, it wasn't to invest in myself. It wasn't to make me a better person in terms of putting me into better positions or
accumulating assets.
Or accumulating assets. It was just about having the money to live the lifestyle that I was living. And that's why the money just literally, like, there was a full bucket and you just stab holes in the bottom. And it's just like, where's it going? But the poor mindset is, for me, is like, I'll get it back. Or I don't need money. Money isn't everything. Yeah. You know, I moved into that sort of space. But now it's sort of like, man, nah, things need to change. Yeah. Things need to be reprogrammed. And shout out to the brother Tiare.
Oh, huge shout out to you, brother, you and your darling Lacey.
Yeah, like we had a main conversation with them over lunchtime just around the reprogramming, reconditioning, because we've been given just these, let's just say these limitations from society of how we're meant to be boxed, but sometimes you just got to breach that box by just reprogramming and sometimes affirming to yourself, you know, like, I am a multi-millionaire, all those types of things. But yeah, it's just cool, just going back to what I was talking about, just being so upfront. And I told it to a bloody wealthy guy. We're in, you know, this was a Q&A session at lunch, and this guy's all about money. I was like, there was something building up in me. I didn't even know I was going to ask a question, but I put my hand up. And I was just like, bro, I was like, man, like, firstly, I gave him an acknowledgement in Te Reo Māori. And I just told him up front, I told this wealth coach, this person who's just really good with money, I was like, you know what, I've just got a poor mindset. And just told him about the conditions of being Māori and the environment I grew up in. And what he said to me was he had a drug addiction. And he went into rehab for 29 days to get out of that, to break that conditioning of needing drugs. And what he said to me was, you just need to be around wealthy people or elevated people who are in that space for 29 days.
People who've been living their life.
Living their
walking that
life.
walk.
Yeah.
And, yeah, be specific too with your words, like, rich people making money.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, without beating around the bush.
Yeah.
And it's, look, it still feels weird and uncomfortable just to say that.
Yeah.
Because our conditioning has led us to view it in like in whispers.
Yeah.
Instead of freaking shouting it. Talking about it as loud as we can talk about personal development and all these other things that we talk about now. Especially you that's why you preach.
Right. Like 100%, that's that's about to be a good person, about sharing your heart, about love, about happiness, but there's just not much about this financial space because, what we also learned today is we hate what we don't understand.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good relationship with money, it's because you don't understand it. I don't understand it. You don't understand it.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about things we don't know.
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch on, like, before we carry on, that how you're talking about, hanging around with, like, rich people. And for those of you listening, it's not rich for rich sake. It's having the financial freedom in order to have freedom of choice to live the life we want to live, how we want to live it, with who we want to live it, with when we want to live it, And it's about having, like, choice. What was the other one? Control.
And freedom.
And freedom, yeah. So that's what having all that money represents, and being able to be more, give more, all those things, eh?
Right.
So, and it's something that we haven't acknowledged, and is the missing piece to our puzzle, eh?
Yeah.
We've been doing all this jabbing and talking about, not talking about it, being good people, being genuine, leading from our hearts and all that. And then, but in terms of, like, our businesses, and today we learnt that we don't even actually have businesses when you count it amongst businesses, if it's just us.
Yeah.
With 0 employees and all that. But, frick, I didn't even know where I was going to with that. I forgot.
You were talking about jabs.
Oh, about jabs. So we've been jabbing and giving and being good people, and we've forgot to right hook. We forgot to put our foot down, understand our value, ask for the value that we deserve for the things that we do sometimes. And
do you want to explain just the jabs and the right hooks?
Oh, yeah.
Not know?
So for those of you who don't know, surely if you follow us, you've heard of Gary V. And if you don't, Gary V, American dude, Google him, YouTube him. He's got this concept called jabs and hooks, and he's got a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And jabs represent giving value, adding value, giving, and then right hooks representing asking for reciprocation. And in this instance, reciprocation meaning money, in order to keep your business afloat. And we've been jabbing and not right hooking, really, eh?
Yeah, and it's been sort of to the point of when you give so much, you sort of like look at yourself and like, man, I haven't been able to receive enough to keep myself afloat to sustain the giving, and sort of like it's sort of that sort of
We've
relationship.
been emptying our cup out, haven't been filling it up.
Yeah, and I remember I was talking to a friend when we were coming up to Tāmaki on Monday, and he asked if I wanted to be a part of this event, and I told him, I said, nah, I wasn't keen, because this trip for me, it was just about absorbing and filling up my cup selfishly, because when you're just exerting so much, it takes a lot. It really does take a lot. So now we're just sort of in the space of like, we know we've been really, really trying our hardest to give as much value and help people as much as we can, but maybe in the cloudiness we've sort of lost sight of our own value. And that means like just struggling in pricing the services that we have correctly. Because I think when we do price things, it's all about, man, can people afford this? I want this for everyone, so we put it at a price that everyone can enjoy. But what does that actually say about our value?
Yeah.
Can what we give out there, can it sustain the journey that we're on? And the other thing that we picked up on, which I feel is a big takeaway for me, is why are we, me and Haunui, not celebrating our own products?
Yeah.
You know, why aren't I talking about my food service like it's amazing instead of saying that I'm just an average cook? You know, why aren't I talking about the speaking events and the workshops that I do openly?
Yeah.
You know, it's all of those things that we're not really doing ourselves, but these are the things that we're learning, and I feel we just want to tread these waters maybe nicely but also unapologetically.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that too, about singing our own praises. And just to give a little bit of context, that's in relation to business. So when you think about business and you see ads for any business, Apple for example, and you see an iPhone ad, all that whole ad does and shows and says is how good an iPhone is. It doesn't say like, oh, I'm a humble average iPhone. It says I'm the best phone in the world. I'm the, you know, and that's it's singing its own praises, because if you can't celebrate you, why the hell should anyone else celebrate you? And that's what we took away from today. And that was literally something that Grant Cardone said to us, and freaking that was a punch in the face we needed to hear.
Yeah. And it was also, if you're not going to brag about yourself or your product or your business, your opposition is going to be bragging about their thing. So, and it's not about, you know, we shouldn't ever be looking at our opposition. We should always be looking forward. And there was a cool as like quote, and it was from Michael Phelps, and it was, losers look at winners and winners look at winners. Was that right?
It was winners concentrate on winning.
Yeah.
Losers concentrate on winners.
Yeah, sweet. So what he said.
Yeah.
And I feel in terms of the direction of where we've been looking, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. I feel we're sort of in that losers sort of space, but not even looking at the winners in terms of like the rich people.
Yeah.
I feel that our attention over the last, I'll say, year has really been looking back. You know, we've been like trying to help people and put our focus and energy there to lift people into a more conscious and amazing space. And yeah, we've just realized like, maybe we just need to point our head and just start focusing on the winners.
Yeah, and this is all framed under the umbrella of finance, money. So don't think that we're talking about like, oh, frick, we're going to change and not look back and not bring people with us, because, you know, we're about that life.
Yeah.
You know, but this is in terms of, money, about looking at people and surrounding ourselves with people who are walking that walk that we want to walk.
Yeah.
Like, end of the day, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And I think that is and that's what Grant done amazing. It was these taboo subjects, but he just owned it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was funny, but yet it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, we all talk about money can't buy you happiness, and to a point, there are truth lies within that.
Always.
But if you just had a bit more money, you can't say that you wouldn't be happier.
Yeah, or that you couldn't afford to do things that could make you and your family more happy or more prosperous.
Yeah.
Hey, all those things.
Right. Because we all want to do things in life, but you need money for that.
Yeah.
Right? You need money, and if we're not thinking about how to generate capital or money, you know, we have a very limited sort of life experience or things that we can experience. So yeah, this might seem sort of like out of it for people to hear.
Yeah. We don't talk like this.
Yeah, because we really don't. And what we're actually just doing in this is just sharing our takeaways.
Yeah.
This is legit just sharing what we've taken away from it. You can take it from a grain of salt, but this is a path that we feel is something that is new for us. But our whole journey, we feel, and we've spoken about it, is that it's led us to this.
Yeah.
You know, both of us being in the trenches, you know, both of us been working on ourselves and working on our hearts and intent and our purpose. And now we're in the sort of space of like, we've got all that sort of, but now we've got that one piece, and it's the finances that we just need to like put in the right place in order for everything else that we have in sight, have in our hearts, have in our
to come to
vision,
fruition.
to come to fruition. This is the last piece.
Yeah, and that's what this financial freedom represents to us. It is a means to materialize the dreams that we have.
Right.
Because if we're being honest, the big dreams that we have literally cannot happen without money. Right. The way that we want them to happen. You know, we could have versions of them happen, but not to the potential that we believe and know that they could happen and have the impact that we know they can have. That's
100% it. And the more that we like came back and we spoke about things, we were in this sort of space of like, right, what do we need to do? Okay, we talked about what aren't we doing, and then we just sort of flipped it and we're like, right, what do we need to do? And some of the things that we came up with was, one was we want to learn how to do Facebook ads. So we're going to like look at a course. We're going to get some feedback from people who we know that have done Facebook ads courses. The next one is we're going to look into like grants and funding from services, and just see if there is some support out there to help us on our journeys.
Which there is. We know there is.
Like we know that there's funding out there available for things, and there's been those barriers of like, we don't know how to do proposals, or how do you write in words your feeling as well as your vision to a stranger who, when they read it, they can feel and see that. And then Haunui just discovered he used to do that, you know, in his studies.
Yeah, you see, we did like briefs in that sort of essay proposal sort of language in order to like illustrate your intentions, how, why, you know, all those things, which is what are required in grants. And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, like there's a start
the
right
tools
there
are
already.
There,
the tools are there.
The tools are there to do it. It's just about the effort. It's just about not beating around the bush. It's just about doing the homework.
Big one.
Hey,
do the homework.
Because you're like,
stop avoiding the homework.
Who likes to do homework? We do now.
Yeah. Love the homework.
The other one was, money making courses, you know, because the biggest investment that you can make is definitely into yourself, and you hear that across the board from everyone. So when we're hearing that, now it's our time to respond, because you know it's so easy for us to go and buy coffee. There were coffee drinkers, to buy food, to buy other things, but really when you're putting into yourself, that's something that's going to last sort of forever. And it might work or it might not, but either way it's going to help you with making better decisions or doing something.
Can I just carry on that? So today Grant Cardone told us the 3 best things to focus on. Number 1 was investing in yourself. Number 2 was investing in our business, which we have done to a degree. And number 3 was cash flow. And that's the one that we just have no idea about. You know, that's one that we're at level 0 on. You know, we've done heavily invested in ourselves over the last 2 years, which is why we are where we are now.
Right.
And then I think, now we're on level 2, investing in our businesses more through all of these things, and then creating that cash flow, that blooming multiple streams of income, which we hear ICE talk about heaps, which you hear financially successful people talk about.
Right.
Multiple streams of income. And it's just a foreign language to us. It's like, sort of understand it logically, but I don't know what that feels like or looks like.
And I think even just on that, I was talking to the bro Ho, and like the way my mindset works is I've only ever really been able to think about things for the next 12 months. It's a real sort of micro mindset because I haven't really had that sort of macro sort of way of thinking and operating. But the bro challenged me on, what are 5 things that big things? And, I was able just to go boom, 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 boom. And it was, some things that I thought about, but it's not some things that I've said. So, it was just the bro pulled it out of me. And now that, boom, if these things are sort of on the road to being achieved, like there's some multiple streams of income, but they are all interconnected. So it's like there's things that are available out there. And I think that's what Grant said too, as well as Gary, is that a lot of people are unaware of the abundance that is available for people.
Yeah.
Right?
Abundance in all forms. Abundance of people, abundance of money, abundance of opportunity.
Right.
Shitload of all of those things out there that we need to tap into.
Yeah.
It's a river that's flowing that we need to dive into.
Just dive into it. And a massive realization tonight was a strength of mine is connecting. Right? And because Ho said there was something that he recognized in me today that he's been seeing a lot, the recent years, and it's just being able to go up to people, introduce myself, connect, and just try and create their relationship. And I didn't really recognize that as a strength, but when I look at the key people who I have sort of connected with over the recent years, they've really transformed my life. They've played a huge part in my growth. And a major thing that Grant was also echoing today was strangers.
Yeah.
Right? What was the actual quote?
Strangers have what you want.
Yeah.
Strangers know what you want to know.
Yeah. So
strangers have what you want to have.
So when you're talking about strangers, and he gave the example of your parents say, don't talk to strangers. And when you really think about it, strangers have everything you want and need in a way. If you want more money, the strangers have it. If you want more knowledge, people you don't know have it. So it's just about how do you find yourself around more strangers to sort of not take from, but also give value, but just start their conversation. And
also, Grant Cardone talking about traveling the world and wanting to make friends for his children, wanting to make friends and proper meaningful connections, and looking at those strangers as people who will cease to be strangers. They're not going to stay strangers. They're going to become partners. They're going to become friends. They're going to become brothers, sisters, family, and you'll never know the family members or the brothers you didn't know you had if you ain't going to reach out and talk to those strangers. And I just want to pretty much just say it on the record. I've witnessed you, as long as I've known you, be able to just talk to anyone and just connect to anyone, from any walk of life, any age, literally any age. And that's a huge asset, huge skill, and that's something that I don't possess, and it's something that I've witnessed the power of, something that I've witnessed the proof of. I've witnessed your growth, freaking first class. I'm front row seat. I've been sitting in here getting blooming. I can feel your spit on me from the stage. I'm that close. And that's a blooming huge thing, and something that I want to take away from, for myself, to just reach out. And I just want to tap into myself personally, and we were talking about it tonight. I'm a person who, my whole life, in terms of creativity, I've had super, super high standards in terms of my art and things. So much so that it has never ever crossed my mind to look elsewhere for connection and all that, because to me, I don't think, this is my old mindset that I'm getting rid of. I don't think anyone can tell me how to be mean at art, so why bother even asking other people? And that's why it hasn't crossed my mind. And yeah, it came to me tonight in the shower, the fact that where you are right now after 1 year, because of the connections you made, because of the steps you made and the steps you took and putting yourself out there. And for me, like, it has looked easy, but you telling me that freaking heaps of them have been insanely nerve-wracking.
Yeah, like insanely nerve-wracking. Like, we've talked a whole lot about it, Grant, because the simple fact, it's what we needed to hear, for where we are. People in their room would have took a lot from different people. For us, it was like, Grant was on. But yeah, just going back to me making it look easy when I was asking my question to Gary, man, I was telling the bro, I was like, my knees were legit shaking. Like, if people were looking at my knees, like when we were waiting in line, they were actually shaking. I felt like I was just freezing, but then I would look around and other people were sweet and they were like in t-shirts. I was like just nervous. But what I was telling Ho was there's just sort of something in me when I see someone who I'm just not attracted to in that way, obviously, but there's sort of like an attraction in terms of energy, or what you might hear, overhear someone talk about something, or if you're just observing and you see how they engage, or if you hold themselves, you're like, they looks like a cool person. And I think throughout what I've noticed in my journey is you're learning from different people, and if you're getting told certain messages, or you start to be aware of certain messages, it's sort of like, I feel for myself, it's guiding me into, I need to connect with this person. That's what I feel is it's just that
you're pulled.
It's like an accumulation of things that I've gathered, whether it's been in 20 minutes or like 6 months. It's just all led to like, this is the time I need to reach out. Because another thing we discovered too is, I've not a person with the talent. Well, I never had a talent. I've always been able just to, and you said it perfectly tonight. Yeah,
so what I said to Rands was, I've witnessed him, and he's told me too, like you've told me, because you weren't talented at anything, it made you work hard, and it just, you'd see places you wanted to get, or, like example, like in your rugby days, like, frick, I want to be better, I want to be like MVP, so what do I need to do? All right, and you're real formulaic in the steps you need to do in order to get to those places, and that mentality has been cultivating over all these years, and
right.
I think that's why you've been able to make the connections you've been making, is because of that. It's just like you come from a place of like, man, like, frick, I don't know, frick, he knows, bro, my name is Dan, blah, blah, blah. I want to know what you know, bro, because, frick, you're where I want to be.
Hey. That's exactly that. But yeah, it's been just one of those amazing moments of just realizing, just in this one day. And, full credit, to the brother Haunui, and even just you talking about where you're at with your art, but now just stepping into, I got a voice too for it, and for me, because there was a huge period where you wouldn't share anything but art.
Yeah.
It was just solely tattoos, drawing, but it's just been mean to see you sort of move out and express yourself in your multi different ways, you know, just their ultimate uniqueness. And for me, just being able to know you on that level, but you sharing that and seeing you being passionate about other things outside of art, I think it's just been awesome for people to see that. So, you know, as I'm growing, like you're definitely growing too. Like, and quite often we talk about like, we're so lucky.
Oh, 100%.
You know, we're so lucky to have one another and be each other's like number one supporter and things. But yeah, another thing is my question I asked Gary was, firstly, because of what Te Haunui said and what I alluded to about me not sort of being where I should be, like now, I shouldn't be here, now about to achieve the biggest thing that I have set out to achieve, which was the food trailer with the help of obviously other people, investor, I should say, just overwhelmed. Right, just overwhelmed. Something that I've fixated on for ages, like I would say over a year, almost around that time. Like that's all I've been thinking about. It's just the food trailer.
For pretty much as long as you've been vegan, eh?
Right,
pretty much.
Yeah, so it's probably longer than a year.
Coupley.
Yeah, but it's just all that I've been thinking about. You know, telling people, gonna have the food trailer. Sharing online, gonna have the food trailer. And now that it's basically going to be built in the next week or two, it's like far out. It's just that sense of like, whoa, like almost scared. And this uncovered what that feeling was. And it's just feeling like I'm not good enough. Like I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of achieving this thing that I've set out to achieve. And it's sort of like, that's really what this overwhelming sort of feeling was masking. That's what I feel was the real reason, like, I didn't deserve this. But what Gary was saying, and other people, like I had discussions with Haunui, I had discussions with Te, and the only reason I asked Gary was, one, I wanted to acknowledge him, but also I wanted to hear something from the horse's mouth. You know, I wanted the bro Gazza to tell me what I already knew, but when you hear something you already know from people who are doing it, it hits you differently. Yeah. Right?
Different weight.
Yeah, and he just said gratitude, and I know all about gratitude, right? I know, but I haven't spent much time thinking about the journey I have been on to get me to where I am now. I haven't acknowledged the consistent mahi, the dedication to growth, the new relationships,
stepping out,
trying new things. I haven't really acknowledged that whole process to allow me to really step into really being grateful for what is about to come. Right, so you just said gratitude, humility, and then again think bigger. Right, so if I've only thought about this, and maybe I'm scared because I don't know what else I'm going to dream of, but maybe if I think about something bigger and there is something in the works, if I think about something bigger, then maybe that will allow me to be like, sweet, that's that done, move on, you know, and that's just the progression. But yeah, so that was the question I asked then, what I've been processing lately.
That was pretty much it. And it was funny because we were at lunch and sitting at the table with Te, which was one of the highlights.
Amazing.
And like that one hit different too because he's Māori, he's from home, and he's actually doing it. He's actually walking that walk that we want to walk. And Rand, you said it, eh? You said like, Rick, do I just need to dream bigger? And then he just said, yep. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what Grant Cardone said too. He said, go bigger, keep going, keep growing. And I think a lot of affirmations today from the right people. And another thing that we learned today about what was it? People living this was American numbers because Grant Cardone is American. he said like something like 76% of people in America live paycheck to paycheck. And so that's 70% or 76% of people in America that you don't need to be taking advice from, because they don't know what abundance in terms of financial is and what it feels like, what it is. And I think that was a big thing for us, like not taking advice from everyone, especially if they ain't walking the walk.
Right.
And putting ourselves in front of people who are walking the walk, which today was a freaking huge taster of.
Oh, it was huge, eh?
Huge taste. And like, it's actually like pretty poetic, the timing of it, because I'm not going to say any numbers, but negative dollars right now, you know, and yeah, this, because of where we are, like in the trenches financially, it has triggered. We are now in a place to receive all these financial messages that we've just been letting go over our heads, because those haven't been our focuses.
Right.
And like a lot of the things that we've written down today and tonight have literally been things that we've heard of time and time again, like the Facebook marketing one, which is blooming 90% of the time in terms of financial and in terms of business. When Gary Vee talks, he leads with that, and he ends with that. He just says Facebook ads, and we've heard it for as long as we've heard him. And now after this amount of time, we're finally listening to it and finally going, frack, yes. You know, we need to actually jump in on those things.
And it's just that climb. It's like far out where there's only one way and it's up.
Yeah.
But touching back on the bro Tiare, like, that's the bro. You know, the cuzzy from the same place as us. You know, he's walked the same roads. He's probably talked to the same people, but he's that man that's out there doing it.
Yeah.
And a thing that we discussed was, you know, sometimes, a lot of the time, our own people pull us down. Right? Our own people pull us down, and man, this idea of feeling like people are trying to leave you to be better, like that you're getting left behind, that right there's poor mindset. Right? We got to get into that space of celebrating our own people and the success that they have and the happiness that they receive. And that's why when I just sitting across the table from Tiare, I was like, bro, thank you. You know, thank you so much. Thank you, Lacey, for, you know, just being so generous.
That's
just
the word
so
right there.
generous with your sharing, with your aroha, with your tautoko. Like, that really meant a lot to us. But, yeah, so, you know, Te Haunui, and when we're just talking, when the bro was talking about, you know, 76% of people you don't want to get advice from, you know, we're just literally, we're not saying, this is not directed at anyone, our conversation. This is legit something that we want to listen to on the way home.
Yeah.
This is stuff that we want to take on and we want to echo into our own minds, and a form of accountability and just what we know we need to do, and I think want to do. Like, this is like the natural sort of space for us to fall into and try and learn.
Yeah. And, you know, like, our journey and our relationship is predicated, it's the first time I've ever said that word, by the way, on growth. And this is a new space that we have never grown in.
No.
The money space.
Not really growing and to sustain.
Yeah. And it, like, not in the way that we have grown personally, like self-development. You know, about, you know, if fellas are watching this, you fellas know what we're freaking on about. You know, this is literally uncharted territory for both of us. And it's this is a place that we're excited to be stepping into. You know, freaking, we didn't know what we're in for, but we know what we want to be in for.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to be in for financial freedom, and we know we are going to be in for financial freedom if we make these steps and we stay resilient, we be brave, and we stay consistent, and we just keep stepping out that, bit at a time, stepping out, get uncomfortable in that financial domain.
Right. And I think something that I have sort of taken, again, like I said, there's been a lot. But attention is the way you get money, because with attention you get known.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're trying to be in a room full of rich people, you just can't turn up there and just be an unknown person. You got to be someone that can grab their attention, that can be remarkable, that can be the purple cow, just to be able to feel that you can give value to them in some way, but also you want to learn from these amazing people, because ultimately those are the shoes you want to walk in. And a stat that I had no idea about, but the average New Zealander lives on $49,000 a year, $49,000 a year. After you spend bills, everything, you're legit left with nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not a life. That's not a life that I want for myself or for my whānau, just that week to week. I really want to be, what Grant says, the financial hero. I want to be the person in my family that can just break those shackles of the trenches and just release not only my whānau, but legit te ao Māori. I want to be an indigenous Māori tāne who has been able to generate wealth, happiness, and just give back to whānau.
Yeah.
Like, I want to, that's legit the whole reason for this e te whānau.
Yeah. To be the examples that we want to see.
Exactly. But, I want to put it out there, we need your help.
Yeah.
Right? Help.
We need, in the words of the great Nipsey Hussle, neighborhood Nip, we want people who are proud to pay.
Right.
People who are proud to pay. We get a lot of support from all of you, and, you hear about business, and the oxygen of business is money. We haven't been putting oxygen into our business.
Right. But we're just still so passionate because we just believe in what we're doing. We just believe in each other. We believe in ourselves. And although that we're in those trenches, it's nah, we ain't giving up. There's a real deep sense. Maybe I've entertained the thought of maybe getting back to 9 to 5, but it's never been something that is really on the cards. This is a commitment, but legit, we need your support, e te whānau. We need help for this, because there's a bigger picture to this. The more we help one another, the more all of us can thrive.
Yeah.
And it really is their mindset. And man, I just have that on my heart.
Yeah. I think just from what you've just been saying, in some other words too, I think is help us, help all of us. We want to bring ngai Māori with us. You fellas know us, and we wear our Māoritanga on our sleeves all day, every day. That's who we are and who we always will be. And we want another chapter in our book to be one of financial freedom.
Exactly.
Hey.
Yeah. 100%. That's it. And to be honest, it will happen.
Yeah. Believe it deep down.
It will happen. I'm just saying, support and help will just be very well received, because, man, we're just out here trying to do it e te whānau, and we legit want to help a lot of people.
Yeah. We
legit, that's a real thing. We want to help a lot of people. And how hard is it? That was really hard just for me to put that out there. Who just puts that out there on a podcast?
Yeah.
Who just says that? Maybe it's because I don't know, 3:30 in the morning. But that was actual genuine though too, because we're just in this stepping space. Support, and when I say that, it might not even be just financial. It's just be just that encouragement or something in those lines. It's definitely helpful, And we know we do get it, but this was just reinforcing where we're at.
I think, like, you know, it's that thing, knowing it and hearing it are two very different things. Eh?
Right.
Like, we know you fellas support us, you know, but sometimes hearing it is that boost that we need sometimes, seeing it, you know. But that's just us, just speaking from her.
those unco ones, they were just tempted to it. But anyway, it's been a mean as day. Multiple breakthroughs for us, and we get a lot at seminars, but I think we get the most when it's just us two.
Yeah.
Because we had a little bit planned tonight, but this was something that we just needed to capitalise on, to wānanga, to flesh out, to see where we needed to improve, what we took in terms of the messages, debunk them, and that's what we've been doing for the last few hours. And that's where the most value just lies for the both of us.
Actual.
And just want to encourage people, if you're learning something, try and do it with someone.
Preferably someone that you can be yourself with.
Yeah.
Someone you can be open with. Someone who can encourage and be there with you and listen to you.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah. And just need that, just because it enables the experience to live forever, you know. But if you just go by yourself, it's really hard to keep that fire burning. But there's been times when me and the bro can just talk about things that happened a few years ago and just act like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
and
relive it. Yeah.
And just relive it. So, that's pretty much where I want to finish with this episode. But like I said, if you've heard it all the way to this, we do hope that you've received value, but also know that there's no pressure on anything. But this is just the journey that we're on, that we're going to hold the reins and just going to continue regardless. Yep.
And big ass thank you to all of you who support us. We are truly grateful.
Extremely grateful. Mauri ore te whānau. Let's go.
Let's get it.